Hey, how's it going? It's your challenger coach, Moriarty here with our newest Mobalytics tier list video for patch 9.16. If you're wondering about where we're going to place the new Pantheon, we won't be ranking him for this tier list, but I do have a gut feeling we will be seeing him during the update video in either top lane or jungle. From now on, I'll also be doing a patch rundown stream, so if you're interested in that, catch the link in the description below. With that in mind, let's jump right into the update. Starting off our S tier roster, as our strongest top laner. Weighing in at I have no idea because it wasn't on his wiki page, we have Khaled. Also Garen, Urgot, Yorick, and Alawi. Going down to A tier though, we got some changes with Dr. Mundo. It's his time to go to A tier, or more like it's Riot deciding it thanks to the buff he received not only to his ECD, but also the tenacity on his W at early ranks. Combine this buff with either Legend Tenacity or Merc Sheds, and he'll be able to run people down and go where he pleases like he's always bragging about, instead of going straight to the gray screen because he got locked down before he could do anything. If you're gonna pick him though, do me a small favor. Avoid the Kled matchup. I repeat, I'm serious, avoid the Kled. And instead, lock him in versus any AP top laner you find super annoying like Kennen. Swain, thanks to the buffs he received last patch on his Q, his win rate skyrocketed across all roles, including top lane, so we're moving him to his rightful place in A tier. If we're gonna talk about rightful place in A tier though, we can't forget Shen, who's my boy moving up to A tier as my pick of the week. Shen is receiving a very nice buff to his damage on his E, but more importantly, extra % max HP damage on his Q, which, though it might seem small at first, it counts towards each of his 3 strikes, giving him a lot of extra damage over extended fights. This will allow him to have more pressure in lane against melee champions, allowing him to ult more often instead of being stuck under tower missing farm all the time. Quick tip when playing him though, look for more proactive ult chances, like when your team is looking to dive bot lane tower, or when your Yasuo is looking to 1v1 the enemy Riven in a side lane and you can't really trust him to win 1v1 on his own. Reactive ults to save people can be good, but they backfire a lot of the time when your ally just keeps running away and you're like, please walk forward so I can taunt someone. But sadly, they can't hear your screams, and then they never walk back forward. Life of a Shen player. Lastly, to the surprise of many, Tahm Kench is still playable and picked and competitive, so he is receiving an incredibly harsh nerf to his base movement speed and shield duration just in time for the world's meta, effectively destroying his chance to be played jungle or top in solo queue. Say goodbye to the tier list Thomas Kench, no one will miss you. For the top lane high elo S tier roster, we have Kled, Akali, and Riven. But wait Adam, didn't Riven receive a nerf to her QCD at later ranks? Why is she still S tier? That's right, she did. But with her massive win rate at Masters Plus of 54.733 repeated of course, and 10.8% play rate, this nerf would need to drop her around 3% win rate to knock her out of S tier, which is probably not going to happen. This is because Riven has so many amazing itemization choices or rune options that give her CDR quickly that she's just not going to miss that 2 seconds very much. It's kind of like TFT, items are overpowered. We predict that this nerf is going to hit her by around 1 to 2% win rate max, and I'm so certain about this that if I'm wrong, I'll embarrass myself by first time playing Riven on stream on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday at 1 PST. As for the rest of the changes, Shen and Mundo are moving up as decent tank options to B tier. Due to Optics loss in the LCS playoffs, we'll be moving Dokla down to B tier. Damn it, I'm Poppy. I'm not doing another retake. I'm sure no one's gonna notice the difference anyways. And Aurelia moves down to B tier due to her progressively worse matchups in top lane impacting her early snowball potential. Moving down to the jungle S tier roster, we have Vi, Amumu, Volibear, Master Yi, Jaximus Prime, and Nunu. Not a lot of changes around these parts, so we'll head right into Flaress' pick of the patch, Taliyah, moving to A tier. With the jungle meta shifting towards AP junglers, Taliyah is reclaiming her position as one of the best AP junglers, if not the best at the moment. Taliyah has strong burst, high map mobility, and great kiting, which is amazing for a gank-heavy meta. Taliyah's core items are Red Smite, Runic Echoes, Morella Nomicon, and Azanias with Sorcerer's Shoes. However, if you're snowballing early, rush Spooky Ghost, Twin Shadows, after Runic Echoes as it allows you to easily set up your burst combo for picks. For more information on her pathing, check out Flaress' new video on it in the description below. Sejuani though is getting banished to the shallow realm due to her passive and Q being worse early game, making her far too team dependent to recommend because her early game is just bad now. To take her place, we have Echo moving to B tier. Many of you have been talking about his jungle potential in the comments section, and with his buff to his E and late game ultimate coming in, we expect his play rate in the jungle to continue to increase. Like Sylas, his kit may even be better from the jungle, as it becomes much easier to set up your stun, his Q is great for clearing, and he can use his mobility to its maximum potential for invades or even objective steals since he can use his E to go over the wall, miss his smite, and then R back to safety without dying. He can also be built full AP one-shot or hybrid tank with Iceborne Gauntlet, giving him a lot more versatility from the jungle, so try him out. For the high elo jungle S tier roster, we have Nunu, Rengar, and Taliyah Kha'Zix taking the place of Elise Nidalee. Kha'Zix, thanks to his last set of buffs, is once again a top tier jungle pick for solo queue. everyone's excited about that one. Something that's more interesting is Taliyah has increased in priority. Fun fact is that despite it being a very strong pick in the current meta, it was disabled for a couple of weeks in pro play due to a bug, meaning many of the top tier junglers stopped actually practicing her for a while. Now that she's back, she is once again seeing a bunch of solo queue play, in particular from top tier Korean junglers like Tarzan from Griffin, and has returned as a premier AP choice due to her strong early ganking style, which is the most optimal way to jungle at the moment for solo queue. Both Nidalee and Elise dropped a bit to A tier because of how well Taliyah and Kha'Zix snowball into them, especially the Kha'Zix versus Nidalee matchup. If she falls behind even a little bit versus that stupid bug, she just chain feeds the rest of the game with no hope of coming back. This patch has a lot of changes in mid lane. To start off our S tier roster, we have Malzahar, Vel'Koz, Ahri, Fizz, Swain, and the anti-fun police Morgana. Morgana reaches the bottom of S tier, as she happens to counter some of the more popular and up-and-coming meta mids like Fizz, Swain, or the recently buffed LeBlanc due to Black Shield denying them any chance to have fun or interact with her in lane. Moving down to B tier, we have new addition Syndra, who is Isaac's pick of the patch. He says that thanks to the damage buff Syndra got on her E and Q, she will now have even more burst damage, something she apparently lacked. For runes, run Comet, Mana Flow Band, Transcendent, Scorch, plus Biscuits, Magical Footwear if you want more poke damage in lane. While try taking Electrocute, Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, Ravenous Hunter, plus Mana Flow Band Transcendence if you want more burst versus squishy mobile champions like LeBlanc. Max Q, then E, then W, and be sure after 6 to look for all-ins while you have orbs already placed on the ground for an easy stun into fresh Q combo. Items he recommends Ludens, Oblivion Orb, then Zhonya/Banshees, then Deathcap/Void, and you can finish Morellos whenever you feel like you need the passive. Corki's base damage and scaling AD took a massive hit, which is going to hurt a Triforce user like him a lot. This nerf was aimed at shaping the mid-meta for Worlds and will hurt his solo queue viability as well, but I think everyone, the viewers, pro players, are happy about this one, that they might see Corki just a little bit less. To take his place in B tier, we have Casawin. With the massive buff to his W base damage, he will have a lot more damage in the early game, especially versus some of the melee matchups he already smashed, like versus Echo or Katarina. Literally the dream buff for those who hate Katarina. She has no chance in that matchup anymore. Now, don't worry, I left the juiciest change for last, with Malphite going to A tier. That's right, can't stop the AP Rockman, he's back in mid lane. Though this is more of a prediction to put him in A tier, he does have some really nice stats to back it up, with a 53% win rate and 1% play rate, which is, respectable for him on patch 9.15, which is really good. Now, you might be wondering why this works so well. After many long hours of research and number crunching, because that's what I do, I found the answer. After his rework, he got better wave clear. Wave clear is good in mid lane. Assassins, especially AD ones, are popular in mid lane. Malphite does not die to assassins. And finally, when built AP, his targeted Q and alt combo can one rotation squishy champions, which is also really good in mid lane. That means I can officially welcome AP Malphite to mid lane as the Yasuo Slayer. Also, before the comment section massacres me with where's Pyke mid, we're looking at it, his play rate is increasing, and he will likely show up on the update video if he continues to rise up in popularity. The mid lane high elo list will also see a lot of changes, with our starting roster being the largest yet, with Ahri, Fizz, Talon, Snake Lady, Katarina, Akali, Aurelion Sol, Qiyana, and Syndra. Mid lane in terms of playstyle and high elo is all about your high impact early game champs, with good skirmish, good roaming, and kill pressure in lane. More champions with these qualities are rising up in the ranks, such as Fizz, Qiyana, and Syndra/LeBlanc thanks to their buffs. Mid laners more than ever have a massive roster of impactful champions to choose from, though they all pretty much have the same playstyle. The only exception to this is Cassiopeia, who got an absurd increase in utility from her W having no minimum cast range anymore, and it's able to deny those high mobility roaming champions a chance to fight back during the teamfight phase. I mean, my Cassio is garbage, and even I'm winning on her, so that says something. Finally, you'll note a lack of Azir and Corki on this list because they weren't amazing in solo queue to begin with and received nerfs, so they went to the Shadow Realm along with Mordekaiser. On to bot lane, our starting S tier roster are Jinx and Jhin, with Sivir falling out of S tier. Due to the nerf to her W in the early game, Sivir's perma-push playstyle is going to take a hit, which is going to hurt her laning phase because that's all Sivir players know how to do. With less wave clear coming from her W, she will need to spend more mana on ricochets or Qs to kill a wave, and with her mana problems early, if she isn't getting spell shields off, she isn't going to be able to negate interacting with people during the laning phase anymore. That means that Sivir players will potentially need to learn what wave control is. I know it's a big ask for them, and how to last her during the laning phase if they want to win more games. She has around a 52% win rate at the moment, and we expect it to drop by around 0.5 to 1% from the nerfs. The last change to the bot lane normal list will be Hewitt's pick of the patch, Swain, going to A tier. He says that Swain's mini rework was not doing that well when it first came out, but he seems really strong with the recent upgrade to the range on his Q. We expect him to be strong top lane and mid lane, but unexpectedly he's actually performing really well as an AP carry in bot lane. The fact that his Q pierces through minions allows his Q and E to pressure the low mobility of most ADCs that try and farm safely behind the creep wave. Also, his new Soul Fragments mechanic gives him a form of infinite scaling that gives him a little bit more late game edge when taking up that carry position. Also, it's important to note that if you use the wrong build on him, there is a huge performance discrepancy, so please use the rune page provided below. Now, if you guys have noticed, I really like off-meta bot lane picks, so if you guys have any suggestions of bot lane champions or just combos in general in bot lane that are really good and you think might become meta, post them in the comment section below. I'll even try out a couple, and if I like them, I'll post them in the next video. For the bot lane high elo S tier roster, we have Zyra, Kai'Sa, and Draven. Sivir dropped out of S tier due to her nerfs, while Swain is being added to B tier as a viable AP carry option. That makes it so that the only major change will be Ezreal moving down to B tier. With the nerfs to his QAP ratio and the massive increase on his early game E, both his wizard build with Ludens and his laning phase took a monstrous hit. Which, to be honest, I'm kinda happy about. Maybe now I'll stop getting off-roll jungle mains or support mains picking their 33% win rate Ezreal on my team in solo queue. Though, to be fair, this is mostly just a byproduct of Riot wanting to lower the amount of Ezreal placing at Worlds since they knew TSM would try and pick it every game. Oh wait, are they even going to make it this year? Scratch that, it's just an overall nerf to how safe he is as a champion with the AP style and wanting to force him to revert back to a more Triforce or Borg style where he has to auto a bit more. We're on the support list now, with the starting S tier roster being Brand, Soraka, Janna, Nami, Pyke, and Will's pick of the patch, Zyra. He says that Zyra is a great champion to climb with thanks to her damage output early and her ability to solo win lane with one good combo. Her poke is very hard to play against, and she has a variety of ways to deal damage. Her plants are also quite difficult to play against in lower levels of play without taking damage. I mean, well, they're hard to play against at any level, those things are broken. Anyways, Zyra is also really good into many other top tier picks on our list like Janna, and she can go even into some of her harder matchups like versus Pyke. Zyra's only real counters are champions with longer range than her that can burst her down like Vel'Koz or Xerath, as she is unable to get into range to poke them while they can just attack her for free whenever they want. He highly recommends you pick her up if you like snowballing lane and carrying teamfights with damage as support. The only other change to the list will be sending Yuumi to the Shadow Realm. She got some absurdly harsh nerfs mostly aimed at toning her down in competitive, which seems to be the trend this patch since it's close to Worlds. Her Q got massacred in all aspects, CD increase, slow percentage, and one of the biggest base damage nerfs I've seen in a single patch, with Yuumi losing 50 damage on her Q at max rank. 50! Like, this champion was already hard enough to pull off in normal solo queue, and now with this nerf, I'll need to tell my friend who is a Yuumi main that it's time to move on. I could definitely see her win rate dropping below the 45% marker. People make jokes about AFK Yuumi players in lane, but now it's really going to be her only option because she just does no damage. Let's play a game here. Leave in the comment section below your guess for how low her win rate will go and why, and let's see who gets it right by the time the update video rolls around. And if you do get it right, I'll give you a shout out in the next video. My guess is 45. Lastly, we have the support high elo S tier roster with Rakan, Thresh, Nami, Janna, Brad, and Soraka. Yuumi and Tahm Kench, as we know, got some big nerfs this patch, moving Tahm Kench to the Shadow Realm where he belongs and Yuumi to B tier. Soraka the Banana Lady makes it from A to S tier. Historically, whenever Soraka is given enough damage to bully lane, she becomes overall strong because she scales amazingly. Well, last patch she did get extra damage on her Q, which allows her to, you guessed it, bully lane once again. No one saw this coming. The important thing to note here is that she also counters a lot of the more popular meta picks such as Rakan, Pyke, and Janna, giving her a solid place in the meta. Thanks again for watching our tier list video for patch 9.16. Feel free to ask us any questions in the comment section below, as I'll be answering as many as I can over the next week, and we'll even pick some of the better ones for the Q&A. So as always, be sure to check out Mobalytics.gg, and I'll see you summoners out on the Rift.